welcome, and congratulations on making one of the wisest investments of your life. By experiencing this Silva Method Life Accelerator training, you learn as millions before you have learned the secret of how the greatest geniuses and achievers of all time have used their minds. When you learn and practice the exercises and techniques presented in this training, you will be able to improve every area of your life. Hi, I'm Laura Silva Quesada, and I will guide you in learning how to use tools and techniques that will enhance your imagination, creativity, intuition, and problem-solving ability, empowering you to become a fully functioning human, integrating both the intuitive and the rational sides of your consciousness, allowing you to manifest more of what you desire in your living experience. These claims may be a bit much for most, but not for you. By experiencing this training, you're joining others throughout the world who have taken advantage of this unique program and are now living happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. The Silva Method is a world's leader in teaching practical applications of powerful mind exercises and techniques. We've been around for a long time because people still have the same problems. People come up to us day in and day out with problems of health, or I can't pay my bills, or I'm having problems with my husband, wife, or significant other. My kids won't listen to me. I can't lose weight. I'm having trouble getting over my health challenge. And no matter where we go in 131 countries that we are in and in 31 languages, the problems are the same. What you are going to learn is to use more of your mind in a special way that will allow you to accelerate the process of getting from where you are now to where you want to be. This is why we say this is a life accelerator course. The Silva Method has grown rapidly worldwide with outstanding success because it is the first method known to be effective in helping people to manage their minds and to develop a more focused, creative, and innovative way of thinking. The discovery of this applied science of orienting or directing the mind, known as psychoorientology, was developed by my father, Jose Silva. It has led millions to take greater control of their lives by guiding their minds to greater achievements than previously believed. And you are going to learn to do the same. His discovery made clear that extraordinary mental functioning was simply the natural outcome obtained by controlling brainwave states and consciously directing the mind. Millions throughout the world and of all walks of life have benefited from this discovery, and now you can too. Others just like you have learned to function at lower brain frequencies with awareness. You achieve this in just hours of practicing the mind-directed exercises in the Silva Method Life Accelerator training. It's really a very simple thing to accomplish because you have done it every day of your life. To slow down brain frequencies is really quite easy. You do it every night as you go to sleep, and then when you wake up in the morning, they speed up again. We'll talk more about brainwave frequency and how the brain and mind operate a little bit later on. Independent scientific studies have shown that alpha brainwave activity is associated with inner levels of mental awareness, tranquility, rest, and relaxation. This alpha wave activity is also associated with inspiration, creativity, accelerated healing, concentration, learning, and your psychic abilities. By learning to function with awareness at deeper alpha brainwave frequency, you will manage your internal state, thereby allowing you to focus your thinking, find solutions quickly, and manifest your goals. The Silva Method training provides the answer to the secret of manifestation. At the same time, you develop and build your creative thinking side. Eventually, you awaken your intuitive psychic awareness and learn to sense valuable information through other than your 5 physical senses. This subjective functioning will change your life forever. The key to awakening the genius within is to develop creative, intuitive thinking with a refined awareness, allowing you to function at your very best. By doing this, you're using whole brain thinking. You're engaging your right brain hemisphere and your left brain hemisphere, the inner conscious levels and the outer conscious levels, working in both worlds, the subjective world and the objective world. You will be able to use what you learn in this mind-expanding training to more effectively solve problems in your life and on this planet. With practice, you can enhance your new abilities and skills and make positive changes in your health, personal growth, emotional well-being, and prosperity. As you've noticed, this training consists of 10 CDs. I recommend that you listen to 1 CD per day and make this a 10-day training program. Learn the technique or techniques in every CD, practice it, and make the techniques work for you, and when they do, move on to the next CD. Make sure you listen to all the exercises in the order that they come. This will guarantee that you make the most of this training program. The doorway to possibilities is now open, and it's up to you to walk right through. Before we continue, I want to share with you my goals in delivering this program. My goal is for you to hear exactly what you need to hear in order to change your life today, to make positive changes in every area of your life that you choose to change. The tools and techniques and the concepts in this training are really life-changing when you apply them. They're not going to work for you just because you heard them. You really do need to apply them. But in order to apply them, you need to understand them. That's my job. My job is to explain to you these tools and techniques and these concepts in a way that you can understand them so clearly that you'll apply them today and start making changes for the better in your life today. Changes that I know you can achieve. I know that you can create a life of your own design. I know for a fact that you can have everything you want and better than that. I know that. I've gone through it. I've experienced it. Just because I happen to be the daughter of Jose Silva and I'm here today living a wonderful, successful life. And I truly do have it all. I have a wonderful family, great children, a wonderful husband, a great life. And because I live that life today doesn't mean it just came and fell on my lap. I learned to create this life. I learned to think, believe, and behave in the right way to make the right things come towards me, to attract the very things I wanted to attract into my life. It was my birthright, as it is your birthright, to have it all. And my promise to you is to give you the tools and techniques that can help you get from where you are today to where you want to be. So I want to ask you right now, what do you want to accomplish with this training? You can have whatever you desire to have. You can do whatever you want to do and be whatever you want to be. However, first, you must set clearly defined goals. Your goals create your map of life. It will help you to get from where you are to where you want to be faster and easier. This is a great time for you to take a few moments to think of some short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. This will not only get the ball rolling, but will help you direct your energy towards those things that you want to manifest. Oh yeah, and make sure you write them down. Writing your goals down guarantees their manifestation. It's a sort of contract you make with yourself and the universe from where all things come. You stick to your end of the bargain by congruently pursuing your outcomes with the techniques you're about to learn, and the universe will comply by giving you what you want, or better than that. Something else that I want you to keep in mind is that there's going to be a lot of information that you're going to be hearing. Some of this information you're going to buy into right away. It's going to sound good to you, it's going to make a lot of sense, and it sounds like a real practical way of making changes. Other information that you'll be hearing during this training may be harder to swallow. You may need to reconsider or think about it a little bit more. You may be hesitant to accept it fully and completely or unconditionally. Well, that information I will ask you to consider putting on a sort of mental shelf that says, awaiting further information. Just put it there for a while until you understand it better or have use for it. At that time, just bring it down and use it. You may not need to apply everything you hear. Like I say, there's so much information in the Silva training that you may not be ready or even need to use all of it. Just take what you can use, but do make changes starting today. A good attitude to have is to keep an open mind. Just listen, take in, accept what you want, and set aside what you don't want or can't use at the moment. My father used to always say, the mind works best when it operates like a parachute, and that's open. As you think and write your goals down, let me share a little bit about the history of the Silva method. My father began to do his research in studying hypnosis or psychology, parapsychology, the information that basically led to the Silva method way back in the early 40s. His original purpose was to find ways to help us, his children, improve our ability to concentrate and remember lessons in school. He believed that with those abilities developed, we would be able to learn more and make better grades in school and guarantee maybe a greater success in life. Little did he know that the original intention behind the research would lead to the creation of a program that would literally help millions of people change their lives for the better. From about 1944 to about maybe 1953 or so, my father worked with my older brothers and sisters. As I mentioned, there were 10 of us, and I was one of the younger ones, number 8 to be exact. By the time I came into the picture, his research was pretty well underway. It became very obvious early on that his children were achieving even more than what my father originally expected. Besides learning to relax and concentrate, improve their memory and improve their grades, they also began to develop their intuitive faculty. My sister Isabel was one of the children he worked with the most. Let me let her tell you a little bit about her experience with Dad.
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much. It's so neat to be here, too. And you were mentioning about growing up together and all the experiences that we had. As a teenager, usually Sundays and sometimes every day of the week that Dad and I would work together. Initially, it started out as simple classic hypnosis. With the progression of these sessions, hypnosis then went into regression, different life experiences, which was very interesting to me, but it didn't have much anything to do with my present life. Dad would question during the regression period where I was, what I was doing, whether I was married or what age group I was at. And he soon became aware that before he even questioned, I would have the answers ahead of time, which then made him that much more excited and interested in what else might be around the corner that neither one of us was aware of. This must have been a time or soon shortly thereafter that Dad's interest and focus was then towards the intuitive nature of the human mind.
This development of the intuitive faculty really impressed him, and he started to focus his research more on that aspect. In the years that followed, my father's research shifted, and he began to train people to develop their intuition, children and adults alike. During that time, he was perfecting what is now known as the Silva method. Then in 1966, a group of artists from Amarillo, Texas, who heard him speak, asked if he would share his research with them. What they wanted to do is to be able to develop their creativity, to apply that to their artwork. And so my father went and presented what he was sharing at that time in his talks and lectures. And thus, the first Silva method presentation to the public was delivered. For the following 2 years, my father was the only lecturer, driving from city to city all throughout Texas, day in and day out. We hardly ever got to see him. He was on the road all the time. By 1968, he certified the first Silva lecturer, and that was Nelda Sheets from the original group of artists who took the very first class in Amarillo, Texas. I'll let Nelda tell you the story.
Thank you, Laura. Looking back to October 1966, when Jose Silva of Laredo, Texas, first came to Amarillo to talk to students of art professor Dord Fitz, the thing that intrigued us so much was that he seemed to have a method for controlling the inner conscious levels. In our art class, we had been studying various ways to get into that deeper level with awareness, with controls. We had studied hypnosis. As a matter of fact, we spent a weekend with a hypnotist who guided us to deep levels, talked to us about the value of hypnosis. It was a great experience, relaxing, intriguing, and fun, but we did not learn specific formula techniques to take into our studios. Every artist of all kinds, whether they write poetry or write books or music or painting, knows that certain things can cause a block. Sometimes it's merely a blank sheet of paper or a blank canvas. We didn't learn from hypnosis how to take care of that or how to eliminate that. We also had a yoga teacher come to our class, and she taught us yoga meditation. And again, this was relaxing. Some of the stretches were fun, but we did not learn how to be a better artist. The difference between a skilled painter and the true artist is that the true artist is a clairvoyant. The clairvoyant has a vision and then puts it on canvas or on paper or in the dance or whatever form of art. But first there's the vision, that it was really important for us to learn, develop our clairvoyancy. When we heard that Jose Silva had a method for controlling this level, we were intrigued. That's what we were looking for. We had even studied Dr. Carl Jung's books because he talks about creativity coming from the inner conscious levels. And so when we heard Jose Silva talk in 1966 at our meeting, well, it was exactly what we had been looking for. Techniques, and it was pragmatic because it offered us the how-tos, the method. And so that's why I took the Silva method, to become that true artist. And one of the things that we learned to do in the Silva method is, at level, expand our imagination, expand our visualization into the spirit of the flower, the spirit of the landscape, the spirit of the person if we're painting a portrait. In other words, we were learning to go within our subject in order to paint more into our painting. That's what Van Gogh did. He painted more because he was able to visualize the spirit of the trees and the spirit of the landscape. It's there in his paintings. And that's what we wanted to do, is become better artists, and that's what I particularly wanted to do. In the very first class that Mr. Silva presented to us, we learned that we were learning so much more than how to be better artists. We were learning the art of living.
Then in 1969, other lecturers, one in particular being Harry McKnight, joined him, and the Silva method began to spread. Harry McKnight was very instrumental in documenting all that my father was saying or lecturing on, because my dad used to go out and just lecture to the public without any notes. Everything just came from the top of his head, and he knew his material so well that he never documented it. He never wrote anything. So Harry McKnight has been very well known to be the person who put everything down on paper and be able to create a course and a manual and training materials for lecturers who followed. The Silva method was first taught throughout the United States, then to other countries. In the years since, it has spread to scores of countries and has been translated into dozens of languages as diverse as Spanish and Mandarin, French, Korean, Italian, Japanese, Greek, Russian, Portuguese, and many, many others. Well, I guess by now you've had enough time to write down your goals. Now put them away in a safe place that you can read them over in a few months. Make sure you remember where you put them. Alicia Curtis and Janie Dolachek, some dear friends of mine and Silva Method instructors in the Oklahoma area, came up with a Silva Method formula that changed the world. The formula has 4 different steps. The first step is to manage stress effectively. The second is to think of what you want and only what you want, not to waste time on anything else. The third step is to go beyond your limiting beliefs. And the fourth is to use more of your brain and mind to be able to solve more problems and become more successful and live the kind of life that you choose or desire to live. Let's start with the first step, managing stress effectively. We all know that we experience stress day in and day out. And stress is not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing when you can't manage it effectively. There's such a thing as good stress, also known as eustress, and bad stress, also known as distress. The good stress motivates you, mobilizes you, energizes you, whereas the bad stress paralyzes you, stifles your functioning, your thinking. And we want to focus more on how do we manage the so-called bad stress. Every time you experience stress, you have a certain reaction to stress. And that reaction to stress is pretty much based on how you believe, think, behave, your attitudes, your values. All those different factors influence your reaction to stress. The main thing that we want to accomplish here is that we want to convert the reaction into a response. But everybody reacts to stress, and most people react to stress in a somewhat similar way. When you experience stress, you may find that certain things happen to your body and your way of thinking. For example, your muscles tense up, your breathing might be a little bit more upper chest or shallow. Your eyes may narrow, your heart might beat a little faster, you sweat, you tense or clench your jaws, or your muscles in your back, your arms, your legs. And, when people go through that whole change or shift in their body, we tend to say that the body has now triggered the fight or flight response. Now, the fight or flight response is a response to perceived danger. The thing that we need to focus on is what is causing us to trigger the fight or flight response? Because most of the time we experience stress when we misplaced our keys, or when we're late to an appointment, or we're stuck in traffic, or we're getting upset with someone that wants us to do something and we don't want to do. And none of those things are things that really risk our life. Remember, the fight or flight response is a response to perceived danger. None of those things are dangerous, yet those things are triggering all these things to shift in our body, like digestion stopping, the muscles tensing, our heart rate to go up, our inner processes to be put on hold, and everything else the fight or flight response demands. And we're doing this for things that don't merit it. Yet we say, well, I can't help it. That's the way I am. That's the way I react. And quite frankly, that's not true. People don't need to react to stress. They can respond to stress. And when you respond with ability, you are responding responsibly. When you learn to do this, you start to manage stress more effectively, where you are in control of it and it is not in control of you. Now, we want to be conscious of what is going on inside us, in our thinking process and in our body as well, Because once we add more consciousness to the mix, then we're able to manage stress more effectively and make it work for us. What happens a lot of the time is that there's some underlying currents or underlying reasons why we react to stress the way we do and not respond to it instead. We find that most stress is triggered by emotional factors, and those are abandonment, rejection, the feeling you get when you're not in control of the whole situation, for example, helplessness and hopelessness. These are some of the very core emotions that trigger stress. Now, in triggering these core emotions, we're saying to ourselves that I'm triggering something that is rooted in my past. So a lot of the reasons why I react to stress the way I do has to do with things that happened to me in the past. And they're rooted with abandonment, rejection, lack of control, helplessness, and hopelessness. Now, these are emotions. I need to remind you about that. And I remind you about that because when we're talking about the flight or fight response, fighting and fleeing are behaviors, are ways to protect ourselves to survive as a physical being, as a race, as humanity. Well, the fact is we have survived. We don't have to run or flee to protect ourselves or to protect our lives or not to be killed, in order to survive. We've done that already. The thing that we now need to see is that stress reaction or that fight or flight response has evolved through time. And what used to be the fighting part is now anger, an emotion. And what used to be the fleeting part is now fear. So fear and anger have now replaced fighting and fleeing. It makes a lot more sense because fear and anger are emotions. And of course, so are abandonment and rejection and the loss of control or the feeling that you've lost control, helplessness and hopelessness. Those trigger the emotions of anger and fear. So whenever we feel stress, we need to ask ourselves, what really is causing the stress? What's triggering the stress? Is it that all of a sudden I'm triggering a sense of abandonment, like you're leaving me, you're going away, I'm being left alone? Or is it rejection? You don't want me, you don't like me, you're not accepting me for who and how I am? Or is it that we're such control freaks and we want everything to go our way, or we're going to get really upset and start stomping and pouting like, I want it this way, not the other way, do it my way? Or is it that it's hopelessness? There's no hope. I can't do anything about it. It'll never happen. It's impossible. There's no solution. Or helplessness. I can't do anything. I'm not resourceful. I don't have the skill, the knowledge, or the resources to make it happen. I'm helpless here. I'm weak. So one of those things then triggers the fear and or anger that leads to stress. But you need to remember that when it is triggered, it's something of your past. So who's actually in control of a situation when you feel or experience stress setting in or coming in? Who's in control? Is it the adult you who's talking, or is it the child you? Because anything that's triggered has to do with your past. But how far back into your past? When was the first time you felt abandonment? Was it a time when maybe your parents are going out to a nice romantic dinner and you were saying, I want to go too, and they didn't take you and you felt like they abandoned you? Who knows? When was the first time you felt rejection? That could have been a childhood experience as well. And who knows how far back into your childhood you began to feel rejection, and then it was reinforced throughout the years up till now. When was the first time you felt that you were weak and things were out of your control, or helpless or hopeless? Again, all of these things are things of your past and they're being triggered, and that leads to anger and or fear and stress. So whenever you feel stress setting in, and you're probably going to feel it somewhere in your body, whether it's going to be in your jaws, your neck, shoulders, in the pit of your stomach, wherever you experience stress, the moment you feel stress, you need to stop and ask yourself, what's at the root of this? What's causing it? Is it my need to control the situation and I can't control everything and everyone all the time? So now you need to separate yourself from that child you or that past you that doesn't have the kind of resources the adult you has. And now, as an adult, say, how can I best handle the situation? And then go ahead and do so. I want to go back and remind you, that the fight or flight response has evolved through time, and now to replace it is anger and fear emotions. So whenever we're talking about stress and how stress affects our overall living experience, our way of making decisions and right choices, our way of thinking through problems, a way of being creative, our way to communicate effectively with people we love and work with, and also how stress affects our immune system and can really hurt our immune system, and that can easily lead to illness. In other words, stress can very much affect in a negative way everything we do and our health as well. We have often heard that 80% of all illness is stress-related. So an easy way to work with that to start with is that every time you do experience stress, for you to become aware of where you experience it in your body, and at that moment, interrupt the pattern of reaction. And by doing that, you're able to then consciously respond to stress with ability instead. So the moment you feel the stress setting in, you stop, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say relax and get in control. And then notice where the stress is experienced in your body, and then bring to mind what core emotion is being triggered. Is it abandonment or rejection, or the fact that I'm not in control of the situation or of that person, or I feel helpless or hopeless? Once you identify that, you recognize the fact it is a triggered emotion and belongs to something about your past. It could be that child you that lacks the resources to handle a situation appropriately or responsibly now here as an adult. And so you want to separate yourself from that child you, and you may want to go back to that child you during a meditation later on, and we'll talk more about that, and deal with that child you, and give that child you the resources that he or she needs in order to understand what's happening to you today. So now you come back as you are as an adult, and now you think of better ways of handling what's causing the stress. A child you might say, I don't like that, and stomp the feet, whereas the adult you might say, you know what, I really don't care for that, but let me see what I can do to make it better. And then you take the appropriate actions. So now you're left here as the adult, managing the stress and the situation more effectively and more appropriately. The second step is to think of what you want and only that. If there's only one thing you learn from this training, is to think positively. Positive thinking means thinking and talking about the things you desire, whereas negative thinking is thinking and talking about the things you do not desire. Positive thinking is an extremely important aspect of life in general. Every time you say words such as, I can't, I don't want to, but, try, or should, you are engaged in negative thinking. You need to also consider avoiding phrases like, that really makes me sick. I can't stand it. It burns me up. I hate this. It's a pain in the neck. These kinds of phrases only attract what you don't want in life. You need to remember that thought precedes physical manifestation. Now, I'm not saying that everything you say you will manifest, but when you start saying things and those things you say are charged up with emotion, like, I can't stand this, I hate it, it burns me up, then the likelihood of you manifesting that is more probable. Now, again, when we get stuck on thinking a certain way, it's almost like a bad habit. A lot of people who say, I can't stand this, will say, I can't stand this a lot. Or some people will say, it makes my heart skip a beat, or it breaks my heart. You find that those people tend to say, it breaks my heart a lot. Now, the more you repeat the phrase, the stronger that programming becomes. When you say something to yourself over and over and over and over again, whether it's positive or negative, it becomes a sort of affirmation. Now, the affirmation is going to work because it's repeated over and over and over and over again. When you do that kind of repetition, the chances are that you're programming your biological computer with information, and that information is going to take root and it's going to express itself. A lot of times people who do say, oh, that gives me a pain in the neck, suffer from neck pain. Or people who say, that breaks my heart, have bad heart conditions. Or people who say, that burns me up, tend to have heartburn. Or I can't stand this, tend to have problem with their feet, standing, or they fall, they break a leg. Now, it doesn't happen like that all the time, but I want you to consider thinking of people that you know that use these phrases on a frequent basis and how their lives are. Because there's a direct correlation as to what you say and how you live. Thought precedes physical manifestation. You are wasting your time and energy by thinking thoughts that are only going to attract what you do not want in life. So stop it. Stop it and start thinking of what you want instead. People often say, wait a minute, I'm a very positive thinker. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want my marriage to fall apart. I don't want to be poor. You see how positive I am? But guess what? The very moment you start saying, I don't want to be sick, that's what you're thinking about. You're thinking about being sick. Let me ask you to do something. Do not think of a pink elephant. There you go. You're doing it. You're thinking of a pink elephant. Not only that, you're picturing a pink elephant. You're picturing a pink elephant in this mental movie screen of your mind. That movie screen is the same movie screen the universe is watching. You and the universe are watching the same movie. If you say, I don't want to be sick, and you're projecting images of you being sick, guess what you're going to get? You're communicating not only with yourself, with your body, with your brain, with your mind, and the universe, I want to be sick. So if you tell the universe instead, I want to be healthy, I want to be strong, well, guess what? In a matter of time, you're going to be healthy and strong. If you tell the universe, I want my marriage to work, I want to have supportive relationships, loving relationships, well, guess what? You're not only telling your body, brain, and mind, but the universe that you want these things, and the universe will comply. The same thing applies to abundance. The same thing applies to happiness. Whatever you want to attract into your life, you need to think and say and picture in order for it to manifest in your living experience. A lot of times people will ask, well, what am I supposed to say when people ask me, how are you? Just say better and better. You don't have to tell them the truth. You don't have to tell people, oh gosh, I just had a horrible thing happen. I can't pay my bills. My husband walked out on me. My kids don't pay attention. Why are you telling them what's going on in your life? They're not your doctors. They're not your spiritual healers. They're not your bank officers. They're not going to give you the money. So why are you spilling your guts out to someone who's not going to give you anything back in return? In fact, the more you talk about your negative situations with people, the more that's going to go around to other people. And now you have negative energy coming back at you. You're going to have more people thinking negatively about you than you want. Why not just say better and better? My life is getting great, or my life is getting better all the time. And the people you tell that to will then go on and talk to other people and say, hey, guess what? I just saw so-and-so the other day. And man, he or she's looking great. She's doing better. I heard that everything's going well and things are looking on the up and up. And that person will tell somebody else. And you know how that story goes. It all comes back to you. And now you have a lot of people thinking really positive thoughts about you, sending you more energy for manifesting more what you want into your life. Positive thinking is not about, I think it and it happens. Positive thinking is to think consciously about what you want to attract into your life and picture what you want and repeat it on an ongoing basis. So what do you have to do in order to change the polarity of your thought from a negative to a positive? Really simple. All you got to do is whenever you catch yourself saying something negatively or thinking something negatively, simply say, cancel to yourself. So what this means is that you're canceling out the negative thought or statement. But don't stop there. Then you need to replace it with something more positive. If you say, for example, oh, it really breaks my heart when I see that, well, then you say, oh, cancel, cancel. You might want to say instead, it really upsets me or it saddens me, but you don't have to break your heart in the process. This whole concept is called mental house cleaning, and there's 3 steps to mental house cleaning. First, recognition. You must recognize that the thought you're expressing is not to your benefit. Second, cancel out the negative thought by saying cancel, cancel. You need to cancel the negative thought or statement. And the third one is substitution. You need to substitute the negative thought with an alternate thought or statement that is in line with what you want instead. You've probably heard me mention before that in order to make positive changes in your life, you need to change how you think, believe, and behave. You've now learned how to change how you think. Now you can open the door for positive manifestations. The third step to the Silva formula that changed the world is to go beyond your limiting beliefs. Many of our beliefs are from our earlier years and are frequently associated with experiences involving peers, parents, and education. These experiences may be either of a positive or a negative nature. Most often they operate at the subjective level and exert tremendous impact on our lives. But first we want to discuss or think about, well, what is a belief? I have so many times asked people, what is a belief? Define a belief for me. And they stay like, well, a belief is, well, and they really can't pinpoint the definition of a belief. If you don't know what a belief is, how can you work with it? How can you improve on it? How can you eliminate it or modify it? Simply stated, a belief is a statement you make to yourself about something you hold to be true, and it guides your living experience. If your living experience is something you're not really happy about, for example, maybe you're not as healthy as you would like to be, or maybe you're not making enough money to pay your bills and support yourself or your family. Maybe you're in a bad relationship. Whatever the situation is with you, however you're living your life, is due to how you believe. A lot of how your life is unfolding before you has to do with the beliefs you hold to be true. Some of these beliefs are so easy to change. All you need to do is change the statement. You're literally changing the belief itself, and you may be able to attract a different outcome in your life, attract different things to happen. For example, changing the belief statement from, I have so many problems that I'll never be happy, to, I will solve my problems and create greater happiness in my life, has the potential of changing your living experience. A good way to determine what you believe you deserve is to notice how you live. If your beliefs about life, love, health, happiness, and abundance work for you, then you keep them. If not, you need to change them. I often ask people to list their limiting beliefs, and they have such a hard time of thinking of even one, yet I'll hear them say things like, I want to be healthy, but with this illness, it'll never happen. Or they'll say, I wish I could make more money, but with my education, that's impossible. Or they'll say, I would love to find the perfect partner, but all the good ones are taken. Or, I really do want to be happier, but my past gets in the way. Anytime that you use the word but, you're exposing a limiting belief. Or I'll ask them, why aren't you as happy as you would like to be? And they'll say, oh, God, you don't know my husband or my wife or my boss. I mean, it's really awful. Well, you know what? That's a limiting belief. Anytime you say, yes, but, you are really exposing a limiting belief. Not only that, but you're also pointing that finger of blame. You're saying, yeah, it's because of this and that and the other and him or her or whatever, without realizing you have 3 fingers pointing right back at you. It's all about you and how you think and believe. If you don't like your living experience, you'll need to change your beliefs. Change them to attract more of what you want into your life. The fourth step is to use more brain and mind. What we want to learn to do here is to slow down our brain frequencies into the alpha and theta region, and then be able to use your mind at those frequencies in a special way to solve problems, to be more creative, to improve your health, and your overall mental ability by learning to use the potential of both sides of your brain. To begin with, using only one side of the brain to think with would be something like trying to dance with one leg. You can do much better with two legs. Your brain is composed of approximately 100 billion neurons. Neurons function by continuously firing energy and then resting. The number of times per second that they fire and rest is called their frequency. Your brain's many neurons are always pulsing at some frequency. Throughout your entire brain, different sets of neurons are firing at different frequencies. When you are in deep sleep, for instance, most of your neurons pulse very slowly. They pulse more rapidly, though, when you're in a light level of sleep, and faster yet when you're wide awake. The average vibration of an adult's brain when wide awake is normally about 20 cycles per second. Brain frequencies between 14 and 21 cycles per second are called beta brain frequencies. These frequencies are associated with the outer objective world. The brain, while at beta, perceives and gets information through the use of outer physical senses and is conscious of time and space. This relates to outer conscious levels of awareness. Slower frequencies between 7 and 14 cycles per second are known as alpha. These alpha frequencies are associated with creativity and imagination, with intuition, daydreaming. While a person is functioning at the alpha frequencies, the mode of thinking is very dynamic. Human intelligence can question, explore, deduce, create solutions to problems as well. In the Silva method training, we use what is called dynamic meditation versus passive meditation. Passive meditation can be experienced while functioning at theta. Theta lies between 4 and 7 cycles per second. While at theta, a person uses inductive thinking. It's very different than deductive thinking. While at theta, the moment a person begins to question, the frequency of brain moves higher into the alpha or beta frequency. Alpha and theta are not directly involved with the physical world or physical senses. We're not necessarily aware of time and space at this dimension, so it could be that you can experience some kind of time distortion when you meditate. One of the benefits that you get by functioning at the inner conscious levels is that you can access your intuition and use your subjective senses to obtain information and help you accomplish your goals. And lastly, there are some lower frequencies below 4 cycles per second, which we reach during deep sleep. These are called delta brainwave frequencies. Very few people are able to remember information while at delta. Very little is known about delta at this time. Now, so much for the brain. Now, as to the mind. In the Silva method training, we refer to the mind as a focusing faculty of intelligence and allows intelligence to attune itself to and through time and space. In just the same way that your eyes have a focusing faculty to attune vision to things far or near, through the mind, our consciousness can attune itself to things far or near, past, present, or future, and cause the brain to function at various frequencies. When we want to meditate, for instance, it is through the mind that we attune ourselves to slower frequencies of the brain. When consciousness wants to be more active, then it's through the mind that it attunes itself to the higher frequencies of the brain. Now, the mind has its own set of sensing faculties. It can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, but with no barriers of time or space. So that means that the mind can project its sensing faculties to the past and get information of something that may have occurred, bring it to the present, and make corrections. And it also means that the mind can project its senses into the future and create in the future a mold or a model of what you want to manifest, so that then, through time, you can fill in that mold and manifest that future that you desire. Along the way, you'll notice that you'll be using your visual abilities. You're going to visualize certain things or imagine certain things, and those are two very different aspects of imagery. Visualization is to recall something that you have already seen or experienced, whereas imagination is to create something for the very first time, so that when you project your mental senses into the past, you're actually visualizing or recalling your past experiences. When you are projecting your sensing faculties into the future, then you are imagining or creating what you want for yourself in the future. You can also project your mental senses into the microcosm. That means that you can project your mental senses into the subatomic level or the atomic level or the molecular level or tissue level, organ level. And by doing so, you can potentially use your imagination to help yourself heal whenever you're having health challenges. And don't stop there. With your imagination, you can project your mental senses out as far out as you want into the macrocosm. And the most important realization to gain from that is that you can, with your mental senses, go anywhere you need to go, past, present, or future, or through dimensions to get any kind of information that you need to get to apply it to solving problems. Because the more problems you solve, the more successful you're going to be. And success breeds success. From the microcosm to the macrocosm, human consciousness is always in search for information, and it has the capacity to find it. As you can see, the brain and mind work together, and by doing so, you can awaken the genius within. The greater access you have to more of your brain means the greater access you have to the spiritual dimension. The best way to access a spiritual dimension, or also known the subjective dimension, or that world within, is through meditation. We're going to experience a short meditation in a few moments, but first let me tell you a little bit about its structure. Every meditation, no matter what system you use or what method you use, has 4 basic components. One is the entry, the second is deepening, the third is programming, and the fourth is the exit. Now, the entry can be done in many, many ways. For example, you can simply close your eyes, take a deep breath, and relax. In the exercise, we're actually going to take 3 deep breaths. The first breath is to relax the body. From head to toes, imagine a wave of relaxation flowing slowly downward and feel your body relaxing along the way. The second breath is to relax your mind. What you want to do there is just simply think of tranquil and passive thoughts, and I'll guide you along the way. The third breath is to allow you just to kind of settle into your meditation. The second component is deepening. Deepening means just going deeper within. And deeper does not refer to brain frequency. Instead, we say lower. In fact, when you practice and reach a deeper level of mind, you have a heightened sense of awareness. There's no physical measurement of any kind to indicate that you are going into deeper levels of mind. The mind, remember, is not physical. Your mind does not emit any kind of measurable physical energy. It's your brain that transmits a physical energy and can be measured with an electroencephalograph. But that's not the mind. Since your mind is intangible and a sensory function of intelligence, there's no physical energy associated with it. In the exercise, we're going to deepen by doing a 10-to-1 countdown. And then after that, we're going to deepen some more by allowing you to project your mental senses to an ideal place of relaxation. Now, that could be your bed at home or a favorite couch or sofa. Anywhere you feel that you can relax physically is an ideal place to project to during the meditation. The third component of a meditation is programming. That's when you repeat affirmations to yourself, or you apply a technique that is meant to achieve a certain outcome. You can also set your goals there or send energy to your goals, or you can also use your imagination for healing yourself or others. During the exercise, I am going to program certain positive phrases, and one of them is called the genius statement. It goes like this: The difference between genius mentality and lay mentality is that geniuses use more of their mind and use them in a special manner. You are now learning to use more of your mind and to use it in a special manner. Other statements are called beneficial statements, and you're going to repeat these statements mentally after me. I will give you plenty of time to repeat them. They go like this. My increasing mental faculties are for serving humanity better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts bring me benefits and advantages I desire. I have full control and complete dominion over my sensing faculties at all levels of the mind, including the outer conscious level, and this is so. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. The fourth component is the exit, and that simply means that you can open your eyes and come out of the meditation, or you can count yourself out from 1 to 3 or 1 to 5, or you can simply go to sleep if you're meditating at night. In the exercise, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. At the count of 5, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and healthy. It's just a more gentle way to bring you out of the meditation. And remember, all meditations are to be practiced in a safe, quiet environment where you can really focus your attention on going within and gain the greatest benefits by doing the meditation. Now, to get ready for the exercise, we recommend that you listen to the exercise once before actually doing it, and then go and find yourself a really great location, maybe a really comfortable chair. It could even be your bed. The only thing I want you to be aware of is that if you get too comfortable, you might go to sleep, because really what you're doing is almost duplicating the very same thing you do before you go to sleep at night. You get comfortable, you close your eyes, you take a deep breath, and you let yourself enter sleep. Only this time, what we're going to help you to do is to not go to sleep. We want you to stay conscious and aware as you learn to slow down your brain frequencies and enter the inner conscious levels. And when I say take a deep breath, take a really deep, full breath. Allow your belly to fill with air as you inhale and then contract as you exhale. Let's get ready for the exercise. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And while exhaling, relax your body completely from head to toes. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, relax your mind by thinking of tranquil and passive thoughts. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, feel how relaxed you are. It's a wonderful feeling to be deeply relaxed, a very healthy state of being. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I am going to count from 10 to 1. On each descending number, you will feel yourself going deeper, and you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind. 10, 9. Feel going deeper. 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper. 5, 4, 3, deeper and deeper. 2, 1. You are now at a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than before. You may enter a deeper, healthier level of mind by simply relaxing your eyelids. Relax your eyelids. Feel how relaxed they are. Allow this feeling of relaxation to flow slowly downward throughout your body, all the way down to your toes. It's a wonderful feeling to be deeply relaxed, a very healthy state of being. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. And at the count of 3, I will cause a sound with my fingers. At that time, you will project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation. When you hear my voice again, 1 hour of time will have elapsed at this level of mind. My voice will not startle you. You will take a deep breath, relax, and go deeper. 1, 2, 3. Project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation until you hear my voice again. Relax. Relax. Take a deep breath, relax, and go deeper. The following are genius statements for your benefit. The difference between genius mentality and lay mentality is that geniuses use more of their mind and use it in a special manner. You are now learning to use more of your mind and to use it in a special manner. The following beneficial statements are for your benefit. Repeat these statements mentally after me. My increasing mental faculties are for serving humanity better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts bring me benefits and advantages I desire. I have full control and complete dominion over my sensing faculties at all levels of the mind, including the outer conscious level, and this is so. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. Every time you function at these levels of the mind, you will receive beneficial effects physically and mentally. You may use these levels of the mind to help yourself physically and mentally. You may use these levels of the mind to help your loved ones physically and mentally. You may use these levels of the mind to help any human being who needs help physically and mentally. You will always use these levels of the mind in a constructive, creative manner for all that is good, honest, pure, clean, and positive, and this is so. In a moment, I am going to count from 1 to 5 and cause a sound with my fingers. At that moment, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before, feeling the way you feel when you have slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy sleep. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3. At the count of 5, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before, feeling the way you feel when you have slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, healthy sleep. 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. When we think about a human being, I think it's pretty safe to say that most of us agree that there's 4 basic parts that constitute the whole makeup of who we are. That's the body, the mind, the spirit, and the emotions. We can even include the intuitive part as well. We also know that each of those parts has certain requirements that it must meet up to in order to stay strong and healthy. For example, the physical part needs to have proper nutrition, rest, exercise, air, sun, and contact with others, just to name a few. The mental part needs to have challenges and stimulation. It utilizes visualization and imagination. And the quality of thoughts, in order for the mental part to stay strong and healthy, need to be positive. And in order to connect with that mental part, one needs to meditate. The spiritual part also has its own requirements, such as connecting with higher intelligence or with God, the universe, however you want to look at that wonderful higher power, or to be of service to others, to lend out a helping hand, to feel its connection to all other things that exist on this planet, to be able to love and be inspired by art, music, nature. And the one way we can really connect with that spiritual part of us is through prayer. The emotional part also has its requirements to stay strong and healthy. And one of those is to be able to express your feelings, to be able to forgive, to be accepted by others, to feel that acceptance, to accept yourself. And the emotional part is easiest to connect with when you internalize. And although it may come by many names, the physical part requires rest, the mental part requires meditation, the spiritual part requires prayer, and the emotional part requires some sort of internalization. They all represent the same function of going within. You can call it whatever you want, going to alpha, going to your level, centering yourself, or meditation. They all require you to do certain things that lead to the same outcome, which is close your eyes, take a deep breath, and go within. It's as if through meditation we can strengthen the connection of the spirit, mind, body, and emotions, and enhance intuition. It is through meditation that we are able to maintain each of our parts strong and healthy. Meditation is no longer a luxury as it was once believed way back in the earlier years, but a necessity to maintain health. Now, a lot of people say, I don't have time to meditate. It takes way too long. Well, not anymore. With the Silva Method training, you don't need to take an hour to go within and get benefits. That could have been the case way back when people only practiced passive meditation. They would get into a meditative state and go as deep as they could go into theta and stay there as long as they could without going to sleep. Now that could take a long time, and the benefits are a little different when practicing passive meditation versus dynamic meditation. With the Silva Method training, even 5 minutes is good. We also say if you have 10 minutes, that's even better. And 15 minutes a day is excellent. We also emphasize that once a day is good, twice a day is very good, and 3 times a day is excellent. But if you have a health challenge, it's best to practice 3 times a day, 15 minutes every time. See, you don't have to go into this long, drawn-out meditation, although you can if you want to. You will get benefits by going into alpha for even just 5 minutes a day. As long as you include meditation into your everyday living experience, you will receive benefits. Now, the purpose of your meditation will dictate what kind of benefits you're going to gain. Is it because you want to energize yourself, or is it because you want to use imagery and speed up the healing process because you do have a health challenge? Or maybe you just want to improve your grades at school and have better concentration. Or possibly it's because you want to eliminate pain or discomfort. The long and short of it is that meditation is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Now, going back to those 4 parts, the body, the mind, the spirit, and the emotions, I think we all can agree that we certainly do have that mental part, that although it has its own requirements to stay strong and healthy, it is different than the spiritual part. And although the spiritual part has its requirements to stay strong and healthy, it's different than the emotional part. Although they're all invisible, because they are, you can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell the mind, or the spirit, or the emotions, you do know they exist. Now, the body, that's easy because you can see it. Look in the mirror, you see yourself. But the interesting point about that is that when you get at the very core of who you are as a physical being. Even that is intangible and invisible. Sure, we can see the body. Yeah, and sure, we can open the body up and see organs. And we can slice organs up and see tissues and get microscopes and see cells and electron microscopes and see atoms and subatomic particles. The very core, the stuff of the universe is still invisible and intangible. That means it's spiritual. So not only is the very core of who you are as a human being spiritual in nature, so is your mind, so is that spiritual part of you, and so is the emotional part of you. So most of who you are is invisible, intangible, or rather, spiritual. It's no wonder Dr. Dyer says, you're a spiritual being having a human experience and not the other way around. And the quality of that human experience totally depends on you. The great thing is that with meditation and our mental faculties, we can seek out information wherever it is. It doesn't matter where information may reside. We have the power to access it, bring it back, and apply it towards solving problems. As my dear friend and one of my greatest mentors, Harry McKnight, would say, you really need to ask yourself the question, who am I? If I can go forward and backward in time, that's the power of being infinite. If I can know things that I would have no other way of knowing, that's the power of being omniscient. If I can bring that information that I learned and apply it to solving all problems, that's the power of being omnipotent, infinite, omniscient, omnipotent. Who are you? Because whoever you are, higher power and you are related. We've all had what seem to be spiritual experiences or intuitive experiences because that's who we are. We are spiritual in nature. And it's important for us to be able to access that inner self easily and at will. We want to be able to go within and touch base with our spiritual nature. When we do that, we find that we have a tendency to be more connected with everything else that exists on this planet, with other people, other inhabitants, whether inanimate or animate. We just have a certain way of connecting with them because we do connect at some point. We all have subatomic particles. We all have atoms. We all have molecules. Whether we're talking about something that is inanimate or animate, we all have those different levels of existence within us. So we are in rapport at some level with everything that exists on this planet. And it may be that we have even greater rapport with plants than with inanimate matter because of cell life. That's another level of existence that we have in common. And more so with animal life, because now we're talking about cells that come together to form tissues and organs that form systems, and the systems that form a whole human body. So the more complicated the existence, the greater our rapport seems to be. It stands to reason that one of our duties as spiritual beings is to extend a helping hand to everything else that exists on this planet. We have the capacity to think and to reason, to be creative and solve problems. We are able to make this a better world to live in. So part of our purpose as far as life is concerned is to be here to solve problems. That's the beauty about being able to go within. You're able to be more creative, think of more solutions, because you'll always be able to find a solution to every single problem that exists. And not just one solution. What's so neat about going within is that for every single problem you have, you can probably think of 5 or 6 or 7 solutions. Just pick the best one. If it works, great. If not, go with the next one or the next one. But you have no excuse Once you start using your mind in this very special manner, and you go within and access your spiritual nature that can go forward or backward in time, or be anywhere on this planet or any planet in the solar system, or any solar system in the galaxy, or any galaxy in the universe. When you can do that, you have no excuse for not finding solutions to your problems. I always like to say, either do something about it or zip it up. There's nothing wrong with problems. Problems provide us the best vehicle for growth, for learning, for succeeding, because again, the more problems you solve, the more successful you become. So there's no excuse, now that you know that you have access to all information, to not live the life of your own design. One of solving problems and making this a better place in which to live for yourself, for your loved ones, and for everyone who follows. There's a great statement my father always put into his mental exercises. At the end, right before coming out, he would say, "You will consider the whole of humanity, depending on their ages, as fathers or mothers, brothers or sisters, sons or daughters. You are a superior human being. You have greater understanding, compassion, and patience with others." That's such a great statement. It implies that we're one big family. And if we could just see each other in that light, I think we'd be more ready to extend a helping hand, more ready to solve problems, not just for ourselves, but for everybody else, and truly turn this planet into a paradise. And by superior, I mean superior to who you were just a while ago, before you learned these concepts and applied these tools. A lot of what you're going to be learning in the Silva method training, the tools, the techniques, the concepts, a lot of those, some may say, ooh, it's new age stuff. It's really not new age. It's age old. These age old truths are now wrapped in modern day wrappings. Just because they look and sound very today-like doesn't make it new age. They've been around for a long, long time. And because they've been around for a long, long time doesn't mean that they're ancient or no longer valuable. The reality is that people still get sick. People still have problems. People still have emotional hang-ups. And they can't pay their bills. And they can't seem to lose weight. I don't care how modern you are. People still get sick and die. Still get into accidents. Still make wrong choices and decisions. The great thing is that once you learn to go within, you're able to access your creativity, your intuition, your gut feeling, and be guided to making wise choices and decisions. And once you start doing that over and over again, you begin to recognize or identify that feeling that's attached to making right choices and decisions. That feeling is what we call a point of reference. And that feeling is what you want to lean on or go back to every time you're about to make another choice or another decision, and you want to make the right one. And review those times that you either thought, believed, behaved in a way that led to something positive, because that whole experience, that whole internal experience that you go through or that you have before you make a right choice or decision can be duplicated by remembering the last time that happened. And it's also a great way to be able to repeat success. In essence, what we're doing is educating our subjective senses. We are learning how to discern and to make distinctions as to what we are sensing with what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell with our mind. And it's not very different than what we did when we were growing up. If you think way back, or you think of a child, for example, that you know, they're constantly making points of reference with how things feel or how things smell and look. They need to make distinctions between the way steam looks versus the way smoke looks. Although they're very similar, they learn through time that one is very different than the other, and they know how to discern that information. And the more points of reference you make with what you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell in either environment, the physical world or the subjective world, the farther out into that environment you can go. and then come back. And as we go through life, we find that people who make more points of reference can go farther out into the environment and then come back safely. And the same is true in the subjective dimension with your subjective senses. When you establish many points of reference with what you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell with your mind and have no barriers of time or space or dimensions, well, then you can go anywhere, bring back that information, and through time, train yourself to discern or make the distinctions of what you're perceiving so that you'll know exactly how to interpret that information and apply it for problem solving. What we want to do during the exercises as you go through the training is that you want to establish various points of reference, because those points of reference are going to allow you to duplicate your experience when you're meditating, and they're also going to allow you to duplicate your successes in real life experiences. Your points of reference are also going to allow you to go in and out of alpha easily and quickly. In fact, you don't even have to close your eyes to enter alpha. You just need to recall what that experience is like and internalize your state of mind by defocusing your eyesight or vision, kind of like daydreaming. So during the exercise, what I want you to do is to concentrate on your experience of going within, of deepening, of whether you're feeling heavy or light, if you're directly engaged with the exercise or how your muscles feel. All these different things that go on is part of your personal experience. And it could be that someone next to you is having a totally different experience. That's okay. They can, as you can have your own. And everybody's points of reference are accurate for them. I may say, gee, when I go into a meditation, I feel so heavy and my head just drops and I just lose awareness. And I know I'm not asleep, but that's what I feel. Well, that's okay. Others might say, wow, I feel like I'm practically floating off my chair or bed. I feel very engaged. I listen to every word and my concentration is heightened. So when you go through the exercise, just take note of that. You want to recall those very same points of reference, and you're not only able to manage the experience, but you're also able to deepen the experience. In the exercises you're going to be experiencing in the Silva method training, you're going to enter by using the 3-to-1 method. Now, each number will have assigned to it a specific purpose. For example, number 3 is going to be utilized to reinforce physical relaxation. So when I ask you to get comfortable and then close your eyes, take a deep breath, and while exhaling, to picture the number 3 times. Number 3 will always be for physical relaxation. After you mentally repeat and visualize the number 3 times, I will continue with the exercise by guiding you through a part-by-part body relaxation. It's referred to as fractional relaxation. The idea is that it's easier to relax part of your body than it is to relax the entire body at one time. We're going to start with the head area. First, I will say, concentrate your sense of awareness on your scalp, the skin that covers your head. You will feel a fine vibration, a tingling sensation, a feeling of warmth caused by circulation. Now release and relax all tensions and pressures from this part of your body and place it in a deep state of relaxation that will grow deeper and deeper as we continue. Now notice, that's a long statement, and it's during that time that you are going to concentrate on just that part of your head. You may very well experience that tingling sensation due to circulation. So take a moment to actually focus your attention on your scalp, and then Release all the tensions and pressures that you may be feeling. A great tool to have in mind is to give yourself a little smile. A smile has a tendency of relaxing the muscles in your face and scalp. After directing your attention to your scalp, I will continue going a little bit lower, one part at a time. From your scalp, I will go to the forehead, and then to the skin covering your cheeks, and then your neck, and then your shoulders, arms, and hands. Along the way, just simply concentrate on that part or those parts of the body, concentrating on the skin covering the body, the sensation that you experience on your skin, and how your clothing makes contact with your skin. Anytime you focus your attention in that way, you have a tendency to not only relax that part of the body, but go deeper and deeper within. When we get to the chest area and then to the abdominal area, I'm going to ask you to focus your attention within the chest area, or later within the abdominal area. When you do that, think of the different organs within your body and imagine them to be functioning in a normal, healthy, rhythmic manner. Even if you have a health challenge, for more reason, picture whatever organ you're having a challenge with functioning in a normal, healthy, rhythmic manner. We'll continue with the legs, and when we get to the legs, especially the thighs, I'm going to ask you to sense the vibration at the bones within your thighs. That those vibrations, by that time, should be easily detectable. And then we'll continue with the knees and the calves and your feet all the way down to your toes. Once we have relaxed the body from head to toes, we're going to go through a process of desensitization, which means that you're going to imagine as if your feet do not belong to your body. And then later I'll say your feet, ankles, calves, and knees, shoulders, arms, and hands feel as though they do not belong to your body. The goal is for you to focus on the internal experience and not the external experience. If you've never done fractional relaxation before, you may be in for a really great surprise. This part of the exercise, the one that's associated with deep physical relaxation and the number 3, lasts about 15 minutes, and that's plenty of time to experience deep physical relaxation. Now remember to make your markers to establish points of reference along the way, because it's with those markers that you're able to duplicate the same depth and the same physical relaxation in future exercises, but in a shorter period of time. In other words, you can get into deep relaxation faster and easier every time you practice. You will then take another deep breath, and as you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 2 3 times. Number 2 is associated with mental relaxation. Now, mental relaxation can be easily accomplished by thinking of tranquil and passive scenes. In the exercise, I will say, a tranquil and passive scene for you may be a walk through the woods on a beautiful summer day when the breeze is just right, where there are tall shade trees and beautiful flowers and a very blue sky and birds singing in the distance. Hear the birds singing in the distance. Now that phrase is very interesting because not only do I want you to project yourself into that experience, but I also want you to utilize your sensing faculties. Imagine what it feels like to be walking in the woods on a beautiful summer day, to experience the temperature, to experience the smells, the fragrances, to actually hear the birds singing in the distance. Incorporate your visual, your auditory, your kinesthetic modes of sensing information to make it a very full experience. Now, I'll also say this is level 2 for mental relaxation where noises will not distract you. Now remember that because in the future we're going to be able to utilize that little program where noises will not distract you. Noises will help you to concentrate. The goal is for you to project yourself into that scene and experience how wonderful it is to be in a tranquil and passive environment I'm also going to allow you time to experience those tranquil and passive scenes. Later on during the exercise, you will be projecting yourself to your favorite place of relaxation. You've done that before. I'm going to be quiet for a few moments, about 30 seconds in real time, and you're going to just enjoy being in that place of relaxation. Now, you may notice some kind of time warp. The 30 seconds may seem like 30 seconds, but they may seem like an hour. And I'll even mention an hour of time will have elapsed at this level of mind. Anytime I mention that, it's simply to let you know that you can relax and deepen and enjoy the experience. And that's your goal, to deepen as much as you can. It's my job then to pull you back out or to bring you out of the exercise, and I will. Now, it is a 3-to-1 method, so you still have another breath to take, your third breath, and as you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 3 times. Now, number 1 is also referred to as level 1 or the basic plane level. That's your starting point. From there, you can continue to deepen. Now, we're going to deepen during the exercise with a 10-to-1 countdown. As I go from 10 to 1 very slowly, you're to imagine yourself as if you're in an elevator going from the 10th floor all the way down to the first floor. Bring back that feeling of descension, of going deeper within, deeper in thought. That's going to help you during the exercise. Now, any countdown is going to be effective. If you really want to deepen, you can do a 100-to-1 countdown, or you can do a 50-to-1 countdown, or a 25-to-1 countdown. Here, during the exercise, we will simply do a 10-to-1 countdown. I'll say 10, 9, feel going deeper. 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper. Now, I say the word deeper over and over and over again because that too needs to become a marker, a point of reference for you to deepen. Every time you hear the word deeper, you want to bring back to mind a feeling of deepening within, maybe a heavy sensation or a light sensation, a feeling of descending, anything like that is going to help you to deepen. And we're going to convert the word deeper into a sort of trigger mechanism that will be incorporated in future techniques. The best time to practice countdown deepening exercises is in the morning when you wake up, because your brain frequency is already in alpha. The second best time to practice is at night as you're going to sleep, because you need to go through alpha to get to deep sleep. And the third best time to practice is sometime in the afternoon after lunch, when we normally have a desire to take a nap. After entering the meditation using the 3-to-1 method, we will continue with programming. And we're going to do some programming with affirmations. And you'll be hearing some of the affirmations you've already heard, and others will be added along the way. They're always going to be positive. They're always going to be for your benefit, and there'll be things that are desirable for everyone. Now, notice the 3-to-1 method, in fact, is also a sort of trigger mechanism for quick entry into a meditation. Although we're going to take a long time just relaxing the body for number 3, and then relaxing the mind for number 2, and then reaching the basic plane level, that process will shorten through time. Instead of saying, concentrate your sense of awareness on your scalp, the skin that covers your head, and so on, I'll just simply say, relax your scalp, or relax your forehead, relax your face. So the process shortens considerably. And then in later exercises, it shortens even more, because all you'll need to do is take a deep breath and mentally repeat and visualize the number 3 times, and your body will relax completely. You will take another deep breath and mentally repeat and visualize number 2 3 times, and you will relax your mind. And you will take another deep breath, and as you mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 3 times, you will be at your basic plane level. So the entry is going to get shorter and shorter, but the triggers have already been placed. 3 for physical relaxation, 2 for mental relaxation, and 1 for your basic plane level, making it really quick and easy to get into your meditation. A structure is valuable only that it allows you to have more control of your experience and to expand your experience. You don't need to use a 3-2-1 method to enter, but these numbers do have meaning. You could, if you wish, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and begin to recall the same points of reference as you have when you practice your deep relaxation exercises to achieve the same outcome. Trigger mechanisms and points of reference are great tools to keep in mind in order to enhance your meditation experience and make the most of it. In a moment, you will go through the long relaxation exercise. During the exercise, allow yourself to let go completely and enjoy the full benefits of deep relaxation. At the end of the exercise, and upon opening your eyes, there may be parts of the exercise you don't recall. This is because you passed your threshold of consciousness. This is normal. As you continue to practice, you will be able to enter that same depth with greater and greater awareness. This exercise may be practiced as often as desired and at least once a week. It is ideal for managing stress and enhancing the healing process. It lasts about 30 minutes. It is recommended that you listen to the meditation at least once before actually doing it. This will help you become familiar with the exercise and gain greater benefits. You will hear a background sound that is used for deep relaxation. My father put this sound together way back in the late 60s, early 70s. He wanted a sound that would help not only the body relax, but also slow down the brain frequencies and calm the mind. And thus came about this sound that you're about to hear in the exercise. Now, it's a mechanical sound and an electrical sound that's blended together. And he experimented with hundreds of people listening to various combinations and various types of sounds. He found that this particular sound was the best one that would help the body relax and help slow down the frequencies into alpha and theta. Now, music can also help, but it must maintain a certain rhythm in order for it to be conducive to the meditation. Listen to the sound indirectly and allow the sound to simply deepen your inner state. I hope you enjoy it. By this time, we've covered a lot of the concepts behind the Silva methodology, and now it's time to get to techniques. All the techniques in the Silva method training are referred to or called formula type techniques, and that's because you need to follow a certain formula to get the outcome that those techniques are intended to give. Now, the techniques may be really simple and easy to follow, and they make a lot of sense. Most of the techniques are going to start off to help you to solve problems in your everyday living experience. For example, to enter sleep without taking medications, or to energize yourself whenever you're low of energy, or to wake up without an alarm clock. The purpose of the formulas are for you to be able to gain greater management of your mind. And the better you manage your own mind, the better it is for you. And obviously, the less control others may have over your mind. Now, you've probably noticed that with the Silva method training, you've learned to manage stress effectively. And that's a really good thing because we already talked about how stress does affect the immune system, and prolonged stress will eventually show up in one form or another. And most of the time, the first signs of stress will express themselves as headaches, insomnia, or ulcers. So the very first signs of stress will be simple problems, if you will, such as those. As you continue to experience more stress for a longer period of time, these symptoms become more serious. So now you begin to experience things like glaucoma, high blood pressure, and or arthritis. Continued stress, if you don't listen to those signs, it's like your body's telling you, do something, stop, help, something like that. And if you don't do anything about it and you continue to live with stress, then your immune system will continue to deteriorate, and symptoms like blood problems or leukemia or cancer may even surface at that time. Now, don't get too concerned about everything I'm talking about right now, because there is a way to counteract that. If you're experiencing the first signs of stress, then enter your alpha level at least once a day for 15 minutes. That will help. If you have the second signs of stress, then it would be wise for you to enter level twice a day for 15 minutes. And if you are experiencing the more serious health challenges, then enter your level 3 times a day for 15 minutes every time. Remember that you have the power to heal yourself, and this is a great way to begin. As you continue learning the techniques, you'll notice that they move more towards problem solving, goal setting, manifestation. But you can more easily get to doing that when your life is in order. So do notice that some of the techniques in the beginning are going to help you put your life in order, and then you'll be able to set your goals and manifest a life of your own design. The first technique that we have is called sleep control. And although you may not have any problems entering sleep, it's a really great technique to have. I myself can sleep in 3 deep breaths. I am totally asleep. But there's that occasional night when I'm excited about something happening the next day, or I'm having to gear up for a special presentation, that my energy levels tend to be a little bit higher and I have more difficulty entering sleep. That's the time I apply the sleep control technique. Others may have a real serious problem getting to sleep and find themselves taking medications, and taking medications can cause a lot of unwanted symptoms. So again, entering sleep naturally is something you've always known to do. What happened along the way is that you learn how to not enter sleep. What we need to do now is to teach the body, brain, and mind how to enter sleep naturally all over again. And that is so easy. You have already gone through a little short relaxation, and you have gone through the long relaxation exercise. Now, your body, brain, and mind have already started to learn how to enter those deeper inner levels or frequencies of brain, and that's where you need to go in order to enter sleep. You need to go through alpha and through theta in order to enter delta and enjoy deep sleep. Up until about the early 50s, researchers thought that sleep was a very inactive and tranquil state. It is now a known fact that we are anything but inactive during sleep. There are 5 phases or stages of sleep, simply called 1, 2, 3, 4, and REM. And there's a lot of brain activity when moving from one stage to another. There's also a lot of physical activity. A sleep cycle involves the changing brain activity as it moves through the various stages of sleep and dream. A dream sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes. In most cases, a good night's sleep can involve 4 to 5 of these cycles, resulting in about 6 to 8 hours of sleep. The first REM sleep period occurs approximately 70 to 90 minutes after initiating sleep. Many changes begin to happen. The brain frequency picks up to a wakeful beta-like frequency that falls between 12 and 16 cycles per second. It resembles both alpha and beta, but is neither. It is simply called REM. In REM, you experience frequent bursts of rapid eye movements with occasional muscle twitches. The heart beats faster, blood pressure rises, breathing becomes shallow and rapid. And most vivid dreaming occurs during this stage. Sleep studies show that if REM sleep is disrupted one night, our body will have the need to make up for it the following night, often going straight to REM and bypassing the normal sleep-dream progression. If REM sleep is disrupted for several nights, the detrimental effects on daily activities are progressive. After the first night of REM deprivation, there may be a lingering feeling of tiredness. As the deprivation continues, irritability, lack of problem-solving abilities, and even hallucinations can result. The technique, as I said, is very simple. You're going to enter your level using the 3-2-1 method, and then once you get to level, you apply the technique. What you're going to do is that you're going to visualize yourself standing in front of a chalkboard or a writing board. You're going to have a writing instrument in one hand and an eraser in the other. You're going to go up to the chalkboard or writing board and draw a large circle in the center of the chalkboard. After you draw the large circle within the chalkboard, you draw a big X within the circle. You then proceed to erase the X from within the circle, being very careful not to erase the circle in the least. After you erase the X from within the circle, to the right and outside of the circle, you will write the word deeper. Every time you write the word deeper, you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind in the direction of normal, natural, healthy sleep. You will then proceed by writing a big number 100 within the circle. You will then slowly erase the number 100 from within the circle, being careful not to erase the circle in the least. Once you erase the number 100 from within the circle, to the right and outside of the circle, go over the word deeper. Every time you go over the word deeper in this manner, you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind in the direction of normal, natural, healthy sleep. You will continue by writing the number 99 within the circle and erasing it in the same manner, and then going over the word deeper. And then 98, 97, and continue writing numbers and going over the word deeper on a descending scale until you enter sleep. Now, how to make this technique work best? This technique will work best if you focus your attention on the details. It takes your mind away from whatever's keeping you awake. Most of the time, what keeps people awake are outside influences or mental chatter in your head that's keeping you up and busy and going. And what about work? And what about the kids? And what about this problem I have? I've got to pay this bill. And that little chatter that goes on in your head is keeping you awake. So to make this technique work, you need to do several things. One, focus on the details, like not erasing the circle in the least bit, or erasing the numbers starting at the center, going towards the outer edges, going over the word deeper in detail, D-E-E-P-E-R, over and over. That's going to help you to get bored, lose interest, and enter sleep. The other thing, too, you'll notice is that we incorporate in this technique a countdown deepening exercise. It's a countdown from 100 to 1. And every time between numbers, you say the word deeper. 99, deeper. 98, deeper. Now, I want to bring to mind that we have already established a very strong point of reference with the word deeper, to go deeper within, to go deeper in thought. The countdown deepening exercise and the interjection of the word deeper between numbers is going to help you to deepen and go within. Now, keep in mind that this technique is being applied at alpha, and it's much easier to get to delta or deep sleep from alpha than it is from beta. Other tips that will help you to have success with the sleep control technique is to notice the pitch and the volume and the pace of that internal chatter. Most of the time, when you keep yourself awake, it's because the pace of the mental talk or the chatter is really fast, and it's a higher pitch sound as well, and the volume may be a little bit loud. So what you want to do is work with those modalities. Do notice that in the morning when you're trying to get up and can't, that mental chatter is very different than the one that keeps you awake. For example, in the morning, you might be saying, "Oh, I don't want to get up. I'm so tired and sleepy." Notice the pitch, the pace, and the volume of that mental talk. What we need to do is reverse the two. In other words, you want to use the low pitch and the slow pace at night and use your busy high pitch and fast pace in the morning. This comes in handy when you're writing the numbers. You want to make sure that when you write the numbers, you're writing them and thinking them and saying them to yourself in a slow pace and low pitch. You would say 100, deeper, 99, deeper, 98. Deeper. Instead of saying 100, deeper, 99, deeper, 98, deeper. You'll never get to sleep like that. So remember, the modalities of your internal dialogue need to match the outcome that you desire. Now, should your attention wander and you forget what number you're on, that's okay. Just start again with any number. If you feel that the technique may not be working properly for you, then review the instructions and make sure you're doing them correctly. For instance, you may not be erasing the numbers completely or writing over the word deeper. When you use a sleep control technique and you're determined to be successful, you'll keep on doing the technique until you get to sleep, even if it takes all night. Your mind does not like to spend time on a task like this. As soon as your mind knows that you're serious, then your mind would rather let the body go to sleep than to keep working all night long. In the Silva method training, we have this great mental clock technique that allows you to wake up without an alarm clock. Our consciousness functions with both innate abilities such as the beating of one's heart and breathing, and conscious abilities such as solving problems. Both abilities have the power to wake us from sleep without an alarm clock. Biological rhythms, biological clocks, various time givers in our environment, and mental programming all contribute to your awakening naturally without the use of a physical alarm clock. Biological consciousness is what operates our internal timekeeping device. And we already know that the central mechanism of our biological clock is located within the hypothalamus. Yet consciousness can override biological intelligence. With this technique, we're going to use imagination to communicate with innate intelligence. What we're going to do is that we're going to enter our alpha level using the 3-to-1 method. And once you are at the alpha level, you're going to visualize a clock. You are then going to move the hands of the clock to indicate the time that you want to awaken. And then you will say to yourself mentally, in a very affirmative way, this is a time I want to awaken, and this is a time I am going to awaken. Make a clear picture of the clock and the time that you want to awaken, and let that be your last thought as you enter sleep from level 1. You don't need to go into your meditation, apply the technique, then come out to make this technique work. What you need to do is go to sleep from level 1 with the time you want to awaken as your last thought. Now, this technique works for just about everyone. For people who process information primarily visually, will visualize or imagine a clock. The auditory people will hear themselves say the statement, this is the time I want to awaken, and this is the time I'm going to awaken. And the kinesthetic people can actually then raise their arm up in the air and imagine moving the hands of the clock to the time that they want to awaken. So whether you're visual, auditory, or kinesthetic, this technique works. Now, you can combine techniques. If you need to use a sleep control technique as well, then you would apply the clock technique first, and then your sleep control technique. You can even use this technique when taking naps. Just set your mental clock and visualize or imagine the time that you want to awaken after a nap and expect it to happen. Using the clock technique is great training to help you manifest whatever it is you want to manifest. Because wanting to awaken, for example, at 7:30 is a goal, and a specific goal that you're going to manifest at a very specific time. In applying the clock technique, you are training yourself to implement all the elements that need to be in place in order to achieve any goal. It doesn't matter if it's just to wake up in the morning, to get a pay raise, or if it's to rid yourself of a health condition. All those are goals just as waking up at 7:30 is. And what it takes to get up is the same for each. And that is to go into your level, use imagination, be clear about what you want your outcome to be, and expect it to happen. Now, some of you may want to put a digital clock in the picture as well. I know I do sometimes when I'm really pressed for time and I'm concerned I won't wake up exactly the time I want to awaken. I'll not only use my analog clock, but I'll also use the digital clock. I'll have the numbers change rapidly until they land on the time that I want. And once I have both clocks set, I say to myself, this is the time I want to awaken, and this is the time I am going to awaken. Now, it's important that you don't set a physical alarm clock, not even as a backup for fear you might not wake up on time. You may have your clock by your bedside, but without the alarm set. This shows commitment. It shows that you believe and trust in your inner self to wake you up. Your inner self is that part of you that desires the best for you. And the sooner you discover that, the sooner you'll begin to receive even greater benefits in all areas of life. Applying your technique out of need rather than a curiosity will always lead to greater success. Now, something else I encourage you to do is to imagine yourself getting up in the morning, looking at the clock and noticing that it's exactly the time you wanted to awaken. Something else that's really interesting is to notice what wakes you up. It could be a honking horn or the dogs barking or even the birds chirping loudly. You may even have a dream of someone calling your name or the alarm going off. The interesting point here is that there may be a power greater than you that is helping manifest the goal of just waking up in the morning. And don't cheat yourself either. If you want to awaken at 7:30, don't settle for 7:35 or 7:45. Because your goal is to manifest what you desire at a specific time in life, then this training is going to help. If you say 7:30, it must be 7:30. If you say 7:52, it's going to be 7:52, not 7:58, not 8 o'clock. So whatever time you set, you are going to wake up at that exact time. This is going to help later on when you set a goal and you want to manifest that goal at a specific time. Now, just a little word of caution. When you set this technique, you might awaken several times during the night just to check on the clock. Is it time yet? Is it time yet? Now, that's only really showing that intelligence is already working for you. Don't be concerned about that. It will clear up. You'll begin to develop your trust in yourself. It'll only take a couple of days, and you'll find that when you say 7:30 or 6:42, you will awaken at exactly that time. And you will feel like you have accomplished your goal successfully. And that's a great way to start your day. Early on with the Silva Method training, you learn how to use your imagination to relax your physical body. You're now going to go a step further and learn how to use your imagination as a communications tool to work with your consciousness. And this is going to help in all your manifestations. There are 5 steps involved found in one form or another in many of the Silva techniques. Each step is very important for the success of the technique. The steps are really simple and easy to follow. The first step is to recognize the existing situation. This helps to clearly define the starting point. It's easier to get to where you want to go if you know where you are. The second step is to establish your goal. State your goal clearly so that there's no doubt. The third step is to specify what you're going to do in order to reach your goal. This establishes the process that you'll be using to get from the starting point to the goal. The fourth step is to take the necessary action. Do what is necessary to bring about the desired results. Remember, it takes action combined with faith and specific techniques to achieve results, and we'll talk about faith some more. The fifth step is to claim your end results, or claim your rewards. Claim it, believe it, and accept it. Show genuine enthusiasm, which adds positive emotions. You can apply this 5-step process in the To Awake Control technique so that you can energize yourself. For example, if you're feeling sleepy and drowsy and you don't want to be sleepy and drowsy, then you can apply the technique. You say to yourself, step 1, I'm sleepy and drowsy. Step 2, I don't want to be sleepy and drowsy. I want to be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. Step 3 would be to say to yourself, I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and at the count of 5, I will open my eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Step 4 would be to carry out the plan or count. 1, 2, coming out slowly. 3, at the count of 5, I will open my eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Now notice that at number 3, we remind ourselves of the goal. And you continue counting to 4 and 5. And at the count of 5, which is step 5, you say, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. That's claiming your end results. Now, it's really very easy to energize yourself when you're tired. It doesn't take a lot of time at Alpha to be able to gain the benefits of being there. And one of those benefits is to feel energized. Now, that energy can carry on for another couple of hours, maybe. I would say that anytime you feel sleepy and drowsy, especially when you're driving, handling heavy equipment, or have a responsible job that requires all of your attention, that you can go into your alpha level for 5 minutes doing this technique and energize yourself for another 2 hours. Now, every time you feel that way, go back and do it again, and do it again. This will help carry you over until you can find a safe place in which to sleep. This awake control technique is designed to help you remain awake longer when necessary. But don't stop there. Be creative with your techniques. You can deal with other challenges in much the same manner. Some people, upon sensing the symptoms of epilepsy, have reported relief by entering the alpha level and using the same 5 steps. But do make a note, anytime you use any of your Silva techniques for health problems, notify your health caretaker. Or whenever you experience any unpleasant sensation or thoughts at level, use the same procedure. Tell yourself what you are experiencing and add, I don't want this, I don't need this, and in the future I will only experience what I desire to experience at my level. You can use these same 5 steps whenever you want to improve or modify your mood. Maybe you're in a bad mood. Maybe you're feeling kind of grouchy and you know that you can manage it and control it. Well, then apply the 5 steps. I'm feeling really grouchy. I'm in a bad mood. I don't want to feel grouchy or be in a bad mood. I want to be calm and feel pleasant and in control. I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And when I open my eyes, I will be feeling better and better than before. 1, 2, coming out slowly. 3, at the count of 5, I will open my eyes and I will be in a really pleasant mood. 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. You can apply this technique in almost any situation. Now, just because I get all excited while I explain these techniques and talk kind of fast doesn't mean you have to apply the technique that way. So just remember, when you go to level, it's a time for you to relax and calm down and take as much time as you need. You can take 5 minutes doing this, you can take 10 minutes doing this, and you can take 15 minutes or longer. But if all you have is just a few minutes, then this technique can be applied in a few minutes. As with other Silva techniques, this one is to be applied at level using that 5-step process and the exact wording of the formula. So listen to the wording carefully and follow the formula as you're learning it, and especially as it's going to be programmed in the mental exercise. The Awake Control technique is powerful. It's a great program that results in a burst of energy that lasts for hours. In addition, science has demonstrated that meditation is a way for the body to release endorphins, causing it to feel both good and energized. Together, they make a winning combination. Now we're going to talk about dreams. how to recall them, and use them for solving problems. In fact, we spend about 1/3 of our lives sleeping, and approximately 20% of that time is spent dreaming. And we go through a lot of experiences in our dreams, and some of those experiences can literally program you in a negative way. How many times have you woken up in the morning and you're upset, sometimes angry at your spouse because you saw something happening in a dream, and although you know it's not real, it still affects you in the same way. So it's a good thing to have a little more control of what's going on in your internal experiences and be able to counteract negative effects of dreams. My father included this technique in the Silva method training because we dream so much of the time. And people would often come up to him and say, "I don't remember my dreams. I don't dream." Well, the truth is that everybody dreams. And we dream pretty much all the time. We have daytime dreams and we have nighttime dreams. And his goal with this technique was for people to have more control of their mind. And remembering dreams would allow a person to do just that. And this is part of the training. Every technique builds on the last one. So now you're going to notice that you're going to be working with a technique that has to do with that subconscious part of you, what seemingly is a part that's not reachable or able to be controlled by you consciously, when in fact you can have more conscious control of it. The technique itself is progressive in nature. You have step 1, step 2, and step 3. Step 1 of dream control has to do with remembering a dream. This step is to help you to establish or develop the habit of transferring the information from the inner conscious levels to the outer conscious levels. Step 2 is to remember your dreams. This step allows you to facilitate the process of recalling your dreams. And step 3 is to generate a dream that contains information for solving your problem, remember that dream, and understand it. So these are the 3 basic steps that you use in dream control. Now, you're not going to move on to step 2 until you know for a fact that step 1 is responding by remembering a dream every time you use this technique. And you do not move on to step 3 until you know for a fact that step 2 is responding by remembering your dreams every time you use this technique. Now, during the night when we enter sleep, we normally experience 5 stages of sleep. As you sleep, your brain frequency fluctuates from fast to very, very slow. Now, this fluctuation of the brain activity is what constitutes the sleep cycles. The faster frequencies that resemble alpha are associated more with rapid eye movement and dreaming. The slower frequencies, such as theta and delta, are associated more with deep sleep or what is called slow wave sleep. There could be several sleep cycles throughout the night, and they last approximately 90 minutes in length. Let's say you went to sleep at midnight. Most of you, and you might want to make a note of that, will awaken during the night at hour-and-a-half intervals. If you go to sleep at midnight, you have a tendency to maybe move around your bed or even wake up, go to the bathroom at either, let's say, 1:30, 3 o'clock, 4:30, 6 o'clock, or 7:30. In the first dream sleep cycle, the time spent dreaming is very little. Most of the time is spent in deep sleep. In the second cycle, the dream period can be a little bit longer. Whereas in the first sleep cycle, it was maybe 5 minutes. The second sleep cycle, maybe it'll be 10 minutes. Then the third sleep cycle, longer still. And the fourth, longer. And the fifth, more. In the fifth dream cycle, you can spend as much as 30 to 45 minutes dreaming. What that means is that you can recall your dreams during several periods throughout your sleep, at the very end of each dream sleep cycle. The easiest time to remember your dreams is in the morning when you wake up, because you've just gone through the longest dream cycle. But the problem is that a lot of people use alarm clocks, and the alarm clocks ring right when you're about to begin the dream period or right in the middle of the dream period. So if the alarm happens to ring before you begin dreaming, there's no way you're going to have the opportunity to remember those dreams. Or if the alarm clock rings at the middle of the dream period, You might awaken with a confused memory of the dream itself. It just doesn't make sense, and you just toss it out the window as it meaning nothing to you. And that's why it's important for you to wake up naturally using your mental clock instead of your physical alarm clock. Now, the important thing to remember with this technique, though, is that you must have paper and pencil by your bedside ready to record or write the dream down. Now, some of you will say, well, my handwriting is so bad that I don't think it's a good idea. Well, in that case, have a little recorder by your bedside so that you can record your dream. The whole idea is to transfer the information from the inner conscious levels to the outer conscious levels. There are many reasons why people don't recall their dreams, and fear is probably the main reason for not remembering. There's a belief that what you don't understand won't hurt you. So don't delve into your dreams and you'll be just fine. And there's many reasons why people are afraid to recall their dreams, such as experiencing their deep, hidden, dark, shadowy sides. Even when in a dream, that too can be very humiliating and painful, and they'll do anything they can to not remember. Another thing that happens in dreams is that people sometimes see themselves as they truly are. And a lot of times people hide their true nature to others, and the dreams just bring it right out. So they learn to avoid having dreams. Something else that people fear will happen in dreams is re-experience their old traumas. And so they simply avoid dreaming so as not to go through that experience all over again. The bottom line is that in most cases, fear is at the core of what holds you back from remembering your dreams. And it's really important for you to eliminate the fear factor because that in itself can be a very freeing experience. I remember when I was a little girl, I was afraid of monsters. And I always thought there'd be some monster in the closet or some monster under the bed. That often led to me having dreams about monsters. One of the dreams I remember was that Godzilla be coming down the street chasing after me. My dad helped me to deal with that fear. He said, whenever you see a monster, you point to it. And he even asked me, well, how big is your monster? And I raised my hand way up high to show that the monster was a very big monster. And he said, well, all you got to do is bring that finger down. And as you bring that finger down, the monster is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And you can make the monster so small that you can kick him around like a little ball. And you can make the monster still smaller and put him on the palm of your hand. And if you really want to get rid of it, all you got to do is get the picture? That was a really good way for him to empower us in how to deal with our fears. And not only that, but it also incorporates imagery and imagination into the problem-solving process. He was really good about helping us to replay our dreams at night, if they were negative or scary, or if they had a negative connotation to them, or if they seemed to predict some negative occurrence in the future. He would say, go to your level, go back and replay your dream. Only this time, make all the changes in your dream so that the outcome is one that you desire and is one that's very positive. I always use that, even as an adult. Whenever I have a negative dream or a dream that has information of something negative happening, I always go back and replay it. I always make a difference in the dream content so that the ending is positive. I feel that the very least I can do is do my part in creating a positive outcome. And that's intelligence's way of alerting me of a possibility of something negative happening so that I can step in and turn it around and make it better. Now, what do your dreams mean? Only you can answer that question because all symbols are personal. Interpreting your dreams is a highly subjective undertaking that gets easier as you begin to understand the meaning of your own dream symbols. Your inner conscious communicates with you through your mind's senses, mostly through pictures, sounds, and feelings. Now, dream symbols have their own unique meaning depending on you. No symbol means exactly the same thing to another person as they mean to you because of your life experiences, your background, your fears, and your strengths, and so on. And with that, we must factor in race, culture, religion, belief systems, attitudes, environment. There's a lot of factors. So many of the facets of your personality are expressed in your dream symbols that no book on dream interpretation can provide any true meaning for you. The best way to interpret your dreams is for you to discover the meaning of your own symbols and include them as part of your own dream journal. They're pretty easy to create. Get a binder and put in some blank paper and add alphabetized loose leaf dividers. Then write the symbol that you are interested in on top of the page, the one that appeared in your dream. List whatever associations come to mind that are related to that symbol. Write the title and date of the dream the symbol appeared in. Then write the role the symbol plays in the dream. You can even draw pictures of the symbol that sometimes allows more information to surface. You can write anything on that page for that symbol that you consider relevant information. There's a lot of styles of interpreting dreams. You may want to lean more towards a Freudian style, where he used free association, or the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung's approach, where he preferred symbol amplification. Now, Fritz Perls, the founder of Gestalt therapy, believed that characters and objects in our dreams are in fact projections of ourselves. A combination of those various approaches or styles of interpretation may be the best way to go. And just remember, you're the creator of your dream, and you have all the answers inside. Just ask yourself, what does that dream mean to me? What does that symbol mean to me? Then listen, and you'll hear the right answer. Now, the real thrust behind my father's work was to solve problems. And that's where step 3 of the technique comes into play. In step 3, we're looking to have a dream that contains information to solve a problem that we have in mind. So it's a problem that we're concerned about. So when you say to yourself at night, I want to have a dream that contains the information to solve the problem I have in mind, I will have such a dream, remember it and understand it. That thought is going to incubate the whole night long. Now, how it is that you come up with the information, we're not really quite sure. It could be that intelligence goes out searching for the information, and because there's no barriers of time, space, or dimension, it can go anywhere. Get the information, bring it back to you, and express the information in the dream. It could also be that you already contain the information, but it's trapped in your brain frequency somewhere. Maybe the slower brain frequencies with experiences that occurred when you were a child. And in order to release that information, you need to go into those very slow frequencies like theta and delta that you can only get to while you're sleeping. And then because intelligence is seeking that information, it grabs it or it picks it out and expresses that information in your dream. Or maybe the information that you need to solve your problem is somewhere in your whole genetic makeup, and as you're sleeping, intelligence goes searching for it. The fact is that we don't really know what happens or what actually occurs that leads to you getting the information in your dream that is directly related to solving the problem that you have in mind. The important fact is that you need to remember that when you wake up that morning and you have a dream, there is information there. The solution to your problem is in there, or some bit of information is there that will help you to solve your problem. Search for it. Ask yourself, how does that relate to my problem? And allow thoughts to surface, allow your inner conscious to help out, and come up with a solution. And apply that solution and solve that problem. We're going to do another short exercise to program the formula type techniques that we just talked about. The sleep control technique, the clock technique, the 2-awake control, and dream control. We are going to use the 3-to-1 method to enter, only that this time, it's going to be shorter and easier to get into your alpha level. You're going to hear the same background sound as you heard in the long relax. And as always, we recommend that you hear the exercise first before you actually do it. That way, you know exactly what's coming up and you remove the element of surprise. We will begin this exercise with the 3-2-1 method. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 3 times. Number 3 is for physical relaxation, to relax your body from head to toes in just a matter of seconds. I'm going to call your attention to different parts of your body. Relax your scalp. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes and the tissue surrounding your eyes. Relax your face. Relax your throat, externally and internally. Relax your shoulders, arms, and hands. Relax your chest, externally and internally. Relax your abdominal area, externally and internally. Relax your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your calves. Relax your feet. All the way down to your toes. This is physical relaxation level 3. To learn to relax physically from head to toes in just a matter of seconds. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 2 3 times. You are now at level 2. Level 2 is for mental relaxation, where noises will not distract you. Instead, noises will help you to relax more and more. To relax mentally at level 2, visualize tranquil and passive scenes. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 3 times. You are now at level 1, the basic plane level that you are learning to use for a purpose, any purpose you desire. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I am going to count from 10 to 1. On each descending number, you will feel yourself going deeper, and you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind. 10, 9, feel going deeper. 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper. 5, 4, 3, deeper and deeper. 2, 1. You are now at a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than before. You may enter a deeper, healthier level of mind by simply relaxing your eyelids. Relax your eyelids. Feel how relaxed they are. Allow this feeling of relaxation to flow slowly downward throughout your body, all the way down to your toes. It is a wonderful feeling to be deeply relaxed, a very healthy state of being. You will continue to listen to my voice. You will continue to follow the instructions at this level of the mind, or any other level including the outer conscious level. This is for your benefit, you desire it, and it is so. Whenever you hear me mention the word relax, all unnecessary movements and activities of your body, brain, and mind will cease immediately, and you will become completely passive and relaxed physically and mentally. The difference between genius mentality and lay mentality is that geniuses use more of their minds and use them in a special manner. You are now learning to use more of your mind and to use it in a special manner. The following are beneficial statements that you may occasionally repeat while at these levels of the mind. Repeat mentally after me. My increasing mental faculties are for serving humanity better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts and suggestions bring me benefits I desire. I have full control over my sensing faculties at all levels of the mind. I am always in control. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. We will now impress the first technique. Sleep control is a formula-type technique that you can use to enter natural, healthy sleep anytime, anywhere, without the use of drugs. Whenever you need to use sleep control, enter level 1 with the 3-to-1 method. Once at level 1, use the technique. In a moment, I will count from 1 to 3, and at the count of 3, I will cause a sound with my fingers. At that moment, you will visualize a chalkboard. You will mentally have chalk in one hand and an eraser in the other. You will then mentally draw a large circle on the chalkboard. Then you will mentally draw a big X within the circle. You will then proceed to erase the X from within the circle, starting at the center and erasing towards the inner edges of the circle, being careful not to erase the circle in the least. Once you erase the X from within the circle, to the right and outside of the circle, you will write the word deeper. Every time you write the word deeper, you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind in the direction of normal, natural, healthy sleep. You will then write a big number 100 within the circle. Then you will proceed to erase the number 100, being careful not to erase the circle in the least. Once the number 100 is erased, to the right and outside of the circle, you will go over the word deeper. Every time you go over the word deeper, you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind in the direction of normal, natural, healthy sleep. You will continue using numbers within the circle on a descending scale until you enter natural, healthy, physiologic sleep. I will now count from 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. Visualize or recall a chalkboard. You mentally have chalk in one hand and an eraser in the other. Now mentally draw a large circle on the chalkboard. Draw a big X within the circle. Proceed to mentally erase the X from within the circle, starting at the center, being careful not to erase the circle in the least. Once you erase the X from within the circle, to the right and outside of the circle, write the word deeper. Every time you write the word deeper, you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind in the direction of natural, healthy sleep. Now write a big number 100 within the circle. Proceed to mentally erase the number 100 within the circle, starting at the center, being careful not to erase the circle in the least. Once you erase the number 100 from within the circle, to the right and outside of the circle, go over the word deeper. Every time you go over the word deeper, you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind in the direction of normal, natural, healthy sleep. Now, write within the circle the number 99. Erase it in the same manner. Now go over the word deeper. Every time you go over the word deeper, in this manner, you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind in the direction of normal, natural, healthy sleep. Continue with the numbers 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, and so on a descending scale until you hear my voice again. When you hear my voice next, 1 hour of time will have elapsed at this level of mind. My voice will not startle you. You will take a deep breath and you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than you are now. Continue with the numbers on a descending scale until you hear my voice again. Relax. Relax. Every time you use sleep control in this manner, you will enter natural, healthy, physiologic sleep anytime, anywhere, without the use of drugs. Whenever you enter sleep with the use of sleep control, if someone calls you, or in the case of danger, or in an emergency, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, able to handle any situation. Whenever you enter sleep with the use of sleep control, you will awaken at your customary or assigned time and be wide awake, feeling fine and perfectly healthy. We will now impress the second technique. The clock technique is a formula-type technique that you can use to practice awakening without an alarm clock. This helps in your controlled development of mind. To use the clock technique, practice awakening without an alarm clock. Enter level 1, the basic plane level, with the 3-to-1 method just before going to sleep. At level 1, visualize a clock. Mentally move the hands of the clock or the digital numbers of the clock to indicate the time that you want to awaken, and tell yourself mentally, this is a time I want to awaken, and this is a time I am going to awaken. Stay at level 1 and go to sleep from level 1. You will awaken at your desired time and be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. We will now impress a third technique, the True Awake Control technique. This technique is used for energizing yourself or for staying awake longer. Whenever you feel drowsy and sleepy and don't want to feel drowsy and sleepy, especially when you are driving, pull to the side of the road, stop the motor, and enter level 1 with the 3-to-1 method. At level 1, mentally tell yourself, I'm drowsy and sleepy. I don't want to be drowsy and sleepy. I want to be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. Then tell yourself mentally, I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and at the count of 5, I will open my eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. I will not be drowsy and sleepy. I will be wide awake and feeling fine. Mentally and slowly count 1, 2, 3, and at the count of 3, mentally remind yourself that at the count of 5, I will open my eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. Then mentally and slowly count to 4, then 5. At the count of 5 and with eyes open, tell yourself mentally, I am wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. The fourth technique is dream control, a formula-type technique that you can use to practice remembering dreams. This helps in your development of controlled use of your mind. Dream control step 1. To practice remembering a dream. You will enter level 1 with the 3-to-1 method. Once at level 1, you will mentally tell yourself, I want to remember a dream, and I am going to remember a dream. You then go to sleep from level 1. You may awaken during the night or in the morning with a vivid recollection of a dream. Have material ready to record the dream. When you are satisfied that Dream Control Step 1 is responding, then start with Dream Control Step 2. Dream Control Step 2 is to practice remembering dreams. You will enter Level 1 with the 3-2-1 method. Once at Level 1, mentally tell yourself, I want to remember my dreams, and I am going to remember my dreams. You then go to sleep from Level 1. You may awaken several times during the night or in the morning with vivid recollections of dreams. Have material ready to record the dream. When you are satisfied that Dream Control Step 2 is responding, then start with Dream Control Step 3. Dream Control Step 3 is to practice generating a dream that you can remember, understand, and use for problem solving. You will enter Level 1 with the 3-2-1 method. Once at Level 1, mentally tell yourself, I want to have a dream that contains information to solve the problem I have in mind. State the problem and add, I will have such a dream. Remember it and understand it. You then go to sleep from Level 1. You may awaken during the night with a vivid recollection of the desired dream, or you may awaken in the morning with a vivid recollection of such a dream. You will have this dream, remember it, and understand it. Every time you function at these levels of the mind, you will receive beneficial effects physically and mentally. You may use these levels of the mind to help yourself, to help your loved ones, or to help any human being who needs help physically and mentally. You will always use these levels of the mind in a constructive, creative manner for all that is good, honest, pure, clean, and positive, and this is so. You will continue to take part in constructive and creative activities to make this a better world to live in, so that when we move on, we shall have left behind a better world for those who follow. You will consider the whole of humanity, depending on their ages, as fathers or mothers, brothers or sisters, sons or daughters. You are a superior human being. You have greater understanding, compassion, and patience with others. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5 and cause a sound with my fingers. At that moment, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Vision, eyesight, and hearing improve every time you function at these levels of the mind. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3. At the count of 5, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Feeling the way you feel when you have slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy sleep. 4, 5. Eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before.